I first crossed paths with Talia in our third year of university. She wasn't just attractive. She carried the spark that seemed to pull people toward her without effort. When she entered a room, attention followed her naturally. I was the opposite, quiet, forgettable in a crowd. Still, there was something about her that kept me watching longer than I wanted to admit. Our first real conversation happened after a group project. I cracked a joke, and to my surprise, she laughed. Really laughed, not just politely. After that, little by little, we talked more. In the cafeteria at lunch, lingering outside lecture halls, on random walks across campus. She'd vent about her professors, share silly observations, and I'd listen, hanging on to every word. I thought those stolen moments meant I was becoming someone important in her life. We never defined what we were, but I drove her home sometimes. She borrowed my hoodie and never gave it back. When she couldn't sleep, she called, and I always answered. But I chose to overlook a side of her that should have been a warning. She thrived on being admired, especially around her bold, glamorous friends. Next to them, I wasn't just overlooked. I was a joke. At first, it was subtle. One night at a party, one of her friends spotted me and smirked. "Oh, look, the puppy's here." Laughter filled the room. Talia didn't stop them. She only added, "Well, he's loyal, I'll give him that," as if that softened the blow. Another time at a cafe, while I was telling a story, she cut in mid-sentence. "You see that smirk? He really thinks he's funny." The group burst out laughing. I smiled weakly, shrinking inside. Still, I stayed. I told myself if I just kept showing up, she'd eventually see the real me. Then came her birthday. She threw a huge house party. Loud music, expensive clothes, people glowing under the lights. I arrived with a gift I thought would matter. A first edition of a book she once mentioned in passing. I remembered. She didn't. She muttered, "Thanks," dropped it onto a pile, and moved on without a second glance. Later that night, someone pulled out a list of dares. One of the guys challenged her. Call the most obsessed guy in your life and tell him he never had a chance. The crowd cheered. She grinned, picked up her phone, and called me on speaker. "Hey!" I answered, trying to hear her over the noise. "Stop trying so hard," she laughed. "It's never going to happen." The room roared. "Savage!" someone shouted. I hung up. That was it. No texts, no calls from me afterward. When she reached out, I ignored her. I wasn't cold. I was done. Weeks passed. At first she seemed unbothered, but soon I heard her friends whispering. "Why isn't he around? Is he seeing someone else?" The truth was simpler. I had finally let go. I deleted her number, stopped watching her stories, stopped waiting for scraps of her attention. I poured myself into work, into the gym, into people who valued me. For the first time, I felt like I was living for myself. Then one day, she knocked on my door. When I opened it, she stood there stripped of her usual armor. No makeup, no teasing grin. Just Talia. "I've been thinking about that night," she said quietly. "About you. You were always there, and I never realized how much I leaned on that. I took you for granted. I was stupid. I didn't think you'd actually leave." I looked at her and answered, "I didn't leave. You pushed me away." Silence settled between us. Finally, she asked the question I always knew would come. "Is there someone else?" I smiled, not with pride, not to wound her, but with a calm sense of release. "Yes," I said. Her eyes shimmered, her usual smirk gone, replaced by something raw, regret. For the first time, she felt what I had carried for so long. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I had finally stopped chasing. And in the quiet I left behind, the roles shifted. She was the one reaching for something already gone,